players have a bit of experience. But sorry, I've been rambling on and on. String, who do you like winning this match?
Well, I'm not entirely sure, but Bingxuan seems to get the upper hand in this first series.
Yeah, as far as his first match goes, Bingxuan did pick correctly here, going with that mech mage against the mid-range druid of Wubu here, and it will be a favorite matchup. We see the Bingchong 3000 and Bingchong. That will be interesting in the future. Typically, when you run Bingchong, you run things like Harrison and even sometimes Water Elemental. Obviously, the Snow Chuggas are pretty automatic keeps, but yeah, Wild Growth coming out for Wubu, but no real follow-up other than this Keeper. Whereas on the side of Bingxuan, I mean, we have this Spider Tank into the Tinkertown Technician into, some more crazy follow-ups there. So looking pretty good for Bingxuan right here.
It's really good for Bingxuan. He had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and he also can have some sort of later play as well.
Right. Just in general, looking pretty good for him. However, Wubu still has a chance here. He can fight back. He's probably choosing between... I mean, there's a few things he can do here, actually. He can go for the Swipe, which will kill off this 4-4. He can go for the Lotheb. He can also go for the Azure Drake. Looks like he's going for the biggest play possible. I do like this play, going for the biggest minion possible. Getting rid of the possibility for any spells coming out right now. And we'll see what Bingxuan goes with. He could go for a bit of a... an aggressive, Goblin Blast Mage here, but instead just gonna get the nice value trade and play out this Piloted Shredder. If he goes for the Goblin Blast Mage, there's a very good chance. I think it's something like 60 to 7% that he would land 2 missiles onto the Lotheb and be able to take it out with his Spider Tank. But it looks like he's wanting to get some more sticky stuff onto the board. And with a Spider Tank and a Piloted Shredder, it's likely that he'll be able to play the Goblin Blast Mage next turn. And if not, maybe go for, this Bingchong here. On the side of Wubu, picks up an Innervate, which is nice to see. You do want to have those Innervates so you can have, one big comeback turn. And as we see these advertisements at the top covering the hand, so it makes it difficult to see. But yeah, going to be a kill onto this Spider Tank, as well as just a Keeper and a Hero Power. So Wubu takes takes control of the board for now, but we could see a Goblin Blast Mage here coming up next.
Yeah, Goblin Blast Mage is totally reasonable, but
could also see a Blinktron. Almost every single weapon kills the Lotheb here, and there could be a value trade onto the Keeper, though I think I'd like to see him go face here, speaking of Bingchun. It is looking like it's going to be the Bingchun 3000, and what they pick up, it's going to be the Cog... Wow, 2 silvers, very nice for Wubu here. And what is this called? The Cog Hammer? Not the Cog Hammer, the Rogue card.
yeah, it's a real card. It's like...
It's a 1/3, and it gets +2 attack when you have a mech on the field, which we see there's mechs on the field, so... yeah, that's the one for Bingchun. I believe it's a road card. In any case, wow. So, actually, not wow. So this was what Wubu was thinking about before when he didn't utilize the Innervate. He has Azure Drake into Innervate Swipe, which he can use right now, and he even has another swipe after that. So we'll see what he goes for. There could be... I imagine it's just going to be a swipe onto the Shredder, and then from there... he can clean up probably the 2-drop with the Keeper. If not, then he can, hit the Blink Drop with his Keeper. So yeah, no matter what, almost no matter what, there's going to be clear on this board unless there's a Doomsayer coming out. And it is a Master Swordsmith, which can be taken out pretty easily. So probably going to see this Keeper hit the Blink Drop, and the True Silver hit the Master Swordsmith. And all of a sudden, it's looking pretty good for Wubu.
Yeah, I think actually that's actually what the druid wants. You want the innovate. You don't actually want the wide growth that much because it's just working long game. But if you're playing against freeze mage, you play mag mage, that your game is not lasting that long.
Right.
Also,
Yeah, you want to get
the
onto the board first before the mech mage opponent, so that you can, kind of take control of the board before things get out of control. But picking up the wild growth on turn 2, and then later on being able to have that innervate to be able to, have a really huge turn like that. In particular, having 2 swipes in hand is really huge for him. So, also looking really good for Wubu, and he's probably wishing he'd played the Goblin Blast Mage a bit earlier.
yeah, because I wasn't really sure that what kind of weapon that the Bingxuan was looking forward to. He's probably want give his opponent something like a cursed blade, but yeah,
Right. I mean, at the time, Bingxuan had a pretty easy way to kill off the Lotheb utilizing, his weapon. But, he didn't really need to go for the Bingxuan. He could have gone for something else, and now it's really helped out Wubu here.
yeah, that's true.
The one problem is that Wubu can't actually do 1 damage to his opponent now without using his 2 silver, which is kind of annoying. But yeah, Wubu with a kind of a poor draw here, getting the Living Roots. Wants to obviously save the swipe for, minions that come onto the board, and the Big Game Hunter for a potential Dr. Boom, which is difficult to deal with without having that. And, okay, we see, I'm a bit surprised that the Clockwork Gnome was played out here. Could have been just a Spider Tank instead, and most likely would have killed off the board. I wonder if he wants to commit to using this, Rusty Horn right here for the taunt on most likely the Clockwork Gnome.
I think you just ping here.
I don't know. I think you have to protect your Goblin Blast Mage. I feel like.
Yeah, but against what? You probably
Against the 2
just.
silver.
Oh yes, and
Okay, there we go. Shrink forgot that there's a 2 silver on the board. Okay, anyway, just kidding. But there's a the Sylvan's coming in the hand of Wubu, and he could also use a swipe, but it's a bit weak here. But I mean, he kind of has to do it, or else he can't really, reach this Goblin Blast Mage, unfortunately. So yeah, gonna go with the swipe, and actually gonna go with the Temple BGH here, just because he can't really wait any longer. Things are getting annoying for him with, the things that his opponents are playing on the field. With this, now he can maybe kill his opponent with any sort of damage that comes up.
yeah, Snow Tracker is really good. That could get a kill.
Wow. Actually going for the Snow Chugger helped him out immensely, because otherwise he wouldn't be able to use the ping there. Very interesting. This game is completely back and forth. I mean, it seemed like Wubu had gotten back into the game, but a couple bad draws and strategically placing that Rusty Horn has helped Bingxuan be able to maybe push this game toward the end. Alright, I'm going to see a kill on this Goblin Blast Mage. The Sylvan is a bit of an issue. Alright, so how much damage do we have?
That's lethal.
Right, exactly lethal with this Whirling Blades, as well as the ping and the Fireball. And Bingxuan, after being, almost having Wubu stabilized there, is able to finally take the game. Kind of unfortunate there for Wubu. He was able to actually stabilize for a second, but just, poor draws after that. Couldn't get anything going. And, yeah, Bingxuan is able to take the game.
Yeah, I mean, even though Druid, this is matchup is too bad for Druid to basically win without anything, anything really crazy. So that's one of it. And actually, the first of this group will go up against Lovely Chook in the playoffs, and the second place will go up against Demon in the playoffs. So not really. It's kind of choose between a rock and a hard place. So.
Yeah, both of those players are pretty accomplished. I think I would still want to get first, though. I don't know if I want to go against Diemong, aka Jihao. But in any case, we do have what looks like the Secret Paladin versus the Aggressive Shaman from Wubu here, and this does favor the Secret Paladin, though no 1-drop here for Bingxuan. They're going to have to rely on his 2-drops here, and coin into the Totem Golem coming out for Wubu. Doesn't really have a follow-up other than the Earthshock, which he can use right now if he chooses to do so. Obviously, you're kind of preventing yourself from playing or using that later in the game if there's an Avenge, or maybe even a Taunt, perhaps, or maybe Blessing of Kings even. But yeah, just Bingxuan's going to play out his minions. No real reason to play too slowly here, even if the Night Juggler dies. And coming out for Wubu, likely going to be, as the advertisements on top cover of his cards once more, but likely going to see the Arch and Horse Rider come out. I mean, Tunnel Truck could come out potentially. And by the way, Bingxuan going for the Repentant. It's mostly a bluff. He doesn't want this Totem Golem to attack, or maybe Wubu's afraid of attacking. Unfortunately, the Repentant is going to do absolutely nothing. And Bingxuan just kind of rolls his eyes there, realizing that it doesn't work out too well for him. But Wubu going to continue to attack the face, even though there is a good trade. The 2-2 into the 3-2, you might as well get the damage to the face there. And Bingxuan now deciding between Hero Power or the Avenge. And wow, was able to kill off that Argent Horse Rider. Very nice for him there. Yeah, another Argent Horse Rider coming down, which will take out this Night Juggler most likely. Also Tunnel Truck. So, Wubu keeping the pressure on. We'll see what Bingxuan can potentially draw. Consecrate's not bad. The one thing is that you can't really play the Avenge because it's not going to proc. And so you're basically just consecrating and passing. The Avenge is not going to proc, so you might as well just wait to pull the Avenge from your deck.
Yeah, the good news that for Bingxuan is that that's a level low, so that's a minion, and
it's something to play on the field. If he didn't draw that, he probably just Lava Burst the face, regardless of whether he gets spell damage. The Noble Sacrifice is not the greatest, but he still pulls Noble Sacrifice out of his deck as Bingxuan, so it's not too bad.
Oh, perfect totems.
Right, yeah, the Taunt Totem plus the Spell Damage Totem is really what you want here. And just going to be, Lava Bursting in the face. Wubu doesn't really want to attack here because what it does, if he does attack, then it creates basically a 3-2 and a 10-9. And obviously the 3-2 can take out the Taunt Totem, which is not really what you want. So instead, Bingxuan is going to play out this Doctor Boom, put a lot of pressure on the field, and Wubu, he's in a bit of trouble here. He needs more damage. Does pick up some more damage. So he can roll for double 7s right now for 14 and just win the game. But that's unlikely. We'll see if he goes for it.
I think go for it. Yeah, you go for it.
I mean, you're not dead on board anyway, so you might as well, I think. Rolls for 4, the smallest possible. Bingxuan sitting there like, whew, dodged the bullet. Another Crackle comes. Let's see how much this rolls for. Rolls for 5, the second lowest. So, from a range of 8 to 14, he got 9. Talking about Wubu. So, yeah, that's a bit unfortunate. Gonna start attacking with the Leopard Dome. That's going to make Bingxuan's board bigger, unfortunately. And he has more Noble Sacrifices to spare. And are we gonna see the Rockbiter committed to this turn? It should be, right? Because then he automatically just wins the game? If he Rockbiters and hits the face, yeah, he has to Rockbiter here. There you go. So Bingxuan needs lethal right now, or else he's dead. There's no healing in Secret Paladin. So actually rolling for 5 rather than, is there a tie here potentially? 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. 2, 4, 5, or just 4 damage right now on the board. Yeah, it's not possible. There's no tie possible either. Because you can't kill off your Boombots without hitting the Leopard Gnome, and if you hit the Leopard Gnome, you're dead. If you Consecrate, you can't kill off your Leopard Gnomes, or you can't kill off your Boombots, and then you're dead. So Bingxuan can't tie here, unfortunately. He also can't win either. But Yeah.
And it means he will lose.
Excellent analysis. We provide the best analysis here at twitch.tv/HSCN. If he's not going to win, he's going to lose. All right. Or if he's not going to win or tie, he's going to lose. By the way, the tie system for this tournament, we actually came across this earlier. There was a tie that happened earlier. And in that case, actually both players get the win and the clear on their decks. So it's not a redo. It's just they both get a win and ends up being, both players get it. Anyway, so Bingxuan falls in that game to the aggressive shaman. To be fair, aggro shaman typically ends up picking up a win eventually. So not the worst thing in the world for Bingxuan. He can maybe pick up a win with his secret paladin later. But we are going to be heading into a situation where Bingxuan has Secret Paladin and Druid left, whereas Wubu has Druid and Control Warrior left. And just looking at these two, it's kind of interesting, right? Because Paladin beats Druid, but mostly loses to Warrior, whereas Warrior loses to Druid as well. So I think that it's kind of even, actually. But we're going to be having the Druid first here for Bingxuan coming out against the Control Warrior of Wubu. This will be interesting to see. I think we haven't seen too much of Bingxuan's Druid deck. But if there is Living Roots and Darnassus, it's actually almost favored for the Warrior, which is crazy to think about. But yeah, this matchup has kind of flipped on its head a bit here. And if you're not running too many mid-range minions, and you have things like Darnassus and Living Roots, then the Control Warrior is actually kind of favored, which is crazy.
Yeah, and Armor Smith's coming down for Wubu, and Hero Power and Pass for Bingxuan, which is not optimal, but
yeah, it looks like Bingxuan's going to go for the turn 3 Thorson here, which is, I mean, he has a pretty decent hand for that kind of play. After doing so, he can go turn to a turn 4 Lothab or Azure Drake, and then he even has a 3-mana Pilot Shooter after that, so it's actually pretty good for him. The side of Wubu doesn't have any weapons yet unless he picks one up. So it could be, attack in as well as an execute, or he could attack in with both and bash. I can't really imagine using bash here. It's kind of weak. Probably just going to be an execute. There's not too many big things to execute in Druid, actually. I mean, other than maybe an Ancient of War, or something like a Dr. Boom. But
you have BJH for Dr. Booms.
Right, exactly.
So
you're perfectly fine just killing this guy off, and you'll probably have shield slams later on in the game anyway, so it definitely makes sense to go ahead and do this. A little bit in the field now, which means that bash can't be used on it, and we could just see a tempo Spellbreaker here, which would be a bit weak, but I mean, at least you get something on the field, right?
I mean, you could draw into a Death Bite.
Right. Yeah, you're right. We could see the Acolyte run in first. But, if he doesn't pick up a Death Bite, speaking of Wubu, then obviously, that might be a reality to go for the Tempo Spellbreaker. There's a few things you can use for with Spellbreaker. Obviously, Sylvanas is the #1 target for it. But you can also, silence out the Shredder, which is kind of like killing, a 3-2 with the Keeper. Yeah. We'll see what he goes with. Wubu taking his time, thinking of all the possibilities, and might just armor up and pass.
Yeah.
Basically, he's thinking of everything that could happen here if he does all this stuff. And I can see where he's coming from by not playing the Spellbreaker, because if you play the Spellbreaker, you could die to 1-mana Wrath, because the Thorson's already been out. Looks like this is going to be a Living Roots for 3 onto the Acolyte, but you have to attack the Armorsmith first, I believe. Unless he doesn't want to attack it. No, he's going to go face. Okay, it kind of makes sense. Armorsmith doesn't really have a good target here. You're not playing up against Patron. You don't have to worry about Battle Rage or Whirlwind, stuff like that. So it just definitely makes sense to leave this guy, leave this Armor Smith alone. It's not going to really do anything here. Sylvanas hits the field, which is troublesome for Bingxuan. He could double trade into it. He could use the Force Nature and have it try to take a 2/2, but that means you have to trade in your Lotha, which is a bit annoying. I mean, the play here could be the Force Nature. You attack 2 into the Armor Smith, and then you hit the Drake to the face, and then you load up into the Sylvanas, and there's a very good chance that your Sylvanas takes a 2/2. Obviously, it takes the Drake. It's a bit annoying. But I can't really imagine you play the Shredder out here. You're giving your opponent too much. And Brawl would definitely be an issue. Going to be attack, looks like, on the Armor Smith instead with the Zerdrake. And I suppose he did this because, speaking of Bingxuan, I suppose he did this because if the Zerdrake happened to live, he could kill off the Zerdrake with the remaining treants. But this will allow an easy kill onto the Zerdrake. And it looks like now it's going to be the Tempo Spellbreaker. Shrink you alive? I guess not. Shrink did have to wake up at a kind of a crazy time to cast this, so he might be passing out right now. But we're going to see a charged Druid of Claw to face. Pretty decent read here by Bingxuan that there's no, Despite in hand. But this will likely get killed off by Grom, I would imagine. Alright, so Grom is going to come out here and kill this off. And Bingxuan is actually going to play this greedy, it seems like, and just continue to hit the face here. And Wubu, really he can't, be aggressive here. He's just going to die if he goes ahead and does that. So definitely has to, continue to hit the minions with his Grom. We could just see a Brawl, actually. Hit the Shredder and then just Brawl. And take out whatever is remaining with the Fire War Axe. Or, I guess if the Druid of Claw lives, you have to use Fire War Axe plus Revenge, which is annoying, but you still wouldn't die to combo, which is important. And for Bingxuan, he can't use his Wild Growth for another 2 turns to draw a card anyway. Wubu would not die to combo if he armors up here, which is important. So it looks like that's going to be what he does. Bingxuan is 1 damage off lethal. Wait, if Wubu attacks the Shredder, he's dead. I'm pretty sure. I mean, if he would go down to 18, and if a 2 damage attack minion came out, he would be dead. This is the this is the heal bot that we saw in the first series. That series seems like a long time ago now, and actually it's pretty useful here, honestly, because he can kill off this Grom and heal right back up to 25. Not really have to worry about any sort of aggression from the warrior. But I do like hitting the face here. Obviously, there's a decent trade on the Harrison, but every single point of damage to the face matters in this situation. Sludge Bolt's just really nice pickup for Wubu here, and you might actually have to attack your. I thought he would go for the value trade in the Harrison, but looks like he's just gonna go with the face. Sludge Belcher is kind of the king of holding off the combo. Because if there's nothing on the board, only 4 damage gets through, which is kind of pitiful. The fact that it's odd health, or it has an odd health. Interface is not what you want to see here as Bingxuan. Really need something like an Ancient Allure. On the other hand, Shield Minibot's really nice for him. It's exactly what you want to see off of that Shredder. It's just a really sticky minion. And Wubu hanging on by a thread here, which is actually wishes he had 12 health probably. There's a Shield Maiden though, that's really nice for him. And we'll see if there's a revenge that comes out right now. Could use a revenge and just ping off the shield would help quite a bit, honestly. But he's still alive. If there's a Saboteur that comes out, though, Bingxuan probably just wins the game. But we'll see. And are we going to see revenge, or are we going to see the attack with this slime to take this out? Could just leave it alone, but it's pretty risky. Alright, so with combo here, with a swipe and combo, is that lethal? The opponent's at 22. You go up to 18 with well, you have to swipe the slime if you're trying to get maximum damage to face, right? Because your hero power, well, I guess you use your face actually, and just forego the 2 there. Actually, it doesn't really matter, because you forego 2 by swiping the guy, and you forego 2 by swiping face and then hitting the guy. So if you swipe this slime, your opponent goes down to 21, and you have 19. He's 2 damage off lethal, I believe. No matter how you sequence this. So probably gonna have to use swipe to start clearing this board, I believe. Yeah, gonna have to start clearing the board. But still pretty difficult to get rid of this, shielding mini-bot for Wubu here. So not out of the woods quite yet. And doesn't really have a path to lethal, especially since Grom has already been used. Execute comes in the hand of Wubu. I imagine you just have to use the revenge here and kill off this mini-bot. Looks like it's going to be a Temple BGH. And 19 damage, I believe, still for Bingxuan. There's a Wrath, which can be used for draw cards here. Looks like he is going to go for the draw cards route. And there's Ancient Allure, but it's a bit late here. We'll see. The thing is, if you're Bingxuan, your opponent hasn't played anything for a long time. In fact, he's been forced to play out a Tempo BGH. So maybe you combo clear here, or just use the Force Nature clear, and then he's gonna draw cards. This is very dangerous. I'm gonna be a kill onto this BGH, and actually gonna use Hero Power, but a Fire War-Axe pickup here is lethal. Also Deathbite, obviously. Something like a Korkon Elite maybe that's tacked into the deck. But a very risky play here by Bingxuan. We'll see if Wubu can pick anything up. Picks up the Fire War-Axe, that's going to be lethal. Not sure I agree with that play from Bingxuan. I felt like he was a really good spot as long as he played a bit safer. And that's going to be game over to Arthur. Or not Arthur, Wubu, excuse me. But yeah, that's kind of what can happen. The Druid, doesn't have enough damage to kill off the Warrior. We didn't even see, Justicar in that game. But I mean, overall, the thing is, Bingxuan played with the knowledge that there wasn't any weapon, right? And so he's already seen 2 weapons as well, so it's not too likely to draw the weapon, I suppose. So it's kind of okay there. But he also needed to draw into the Roar as well, So that's something he's taking 2 chances there. Whereas I feel like if you're looking at the play of Wubu, he hadn't played anything for a long time. Obviously, easy for the caster to see. You can look at his hand, you see 2 brawls, right? But he had nothing to do. He's playing off the right side of his hand for a long time, and he finally played a Tempo BGH. So right there, that he's getting desperate, right? He has nothing else to do. So I think it's better to just use the Forced Nature to clear, or even just heal with the Ancient Allure, knowing that your opponent, maybe he has a way to clear it, maybe he doesn't. But yeah, I think a Force Nature clear there, and then after you Force Nature clear, your opponent doesn't have Grom, and then you can draw cards afterward. But in any case, we're going to be going into the Druid versus Druid Mirror, and Wubu is now on match point, and if he wins this, he's going to the round of 16. And pretty slow start by both players, nothing really to do. We'll see if Bingxuan commits to playing out the Harrison Jones here. Interesting that he didn't play out the Living Roots after drawing it last turn. He just went with the Hero Power. I suppose he's saving that to clear something, but it doesn't really, offer that much for him as far as trying to clear something out later. But we might see him just go for the Harrison here. Unfortunately, it doesn't do too well against Shredder. Or Swipe, for that matter. We have a question in chat. This is the winner's match. So whoever wins this goes on to the round of 16. The loser goes to the decider match against Valeera and still has a chance to advance afterward. But right now it's looking pretty good for Wubu, up 2-1, and he has definitely the better hand right now. Lots of minions to fuel him. Meanwhile, for Bingxuan, picks up an Ancient of Lore, which he might want to innervate out next turn. Looks like it's going to be a Savage Roar. I do like this play, but using a Savage Roar. You have nothing else to do, and it's a pretty nice trade here. And yeah, going to use his face. It only takes 1 damage for his trouble, and keeps a Living Root on the field. So yeah, after this play right here from Bingxuan, and being able to take out the board of his opponent, looking a bit better for him. Shade pickup is really nice for Wubu. You can see Wubu was thinking about, he coined out the Shredder so that he could use the swipe the following turn. And didn't work out for him, but did pick up the Shade, so that's nice for him there. And now this Innervate lore has completely changed the game. On the side of Wubu, does he go for the Druid Claw? Does he go for the Loatheb? I feel like Loatheb's pretty reasonable here. The one problem with playing Loatheb is that your opponent, if he has minions in hand, he just goes with that instead of using, obviously, whatever he has in his board to clear it. But definitely makes sense to go for the Loatheb. If you play the Druid Claw and your Druid Claw gets cleared without, utilizing the Ancient Allure, then you're taking a lot of damage to face. But looks like Bingxuan going to get very aggressive here, going to face. I do like the play. I mean, by hitting the face, you're forcing your opponent to reveal the Shade, right? Which is definitely important. You've seen your opponent use a coin as well, so there's basically no way for any sort of combo shenanigans right now. Combo right here would be 27 damage, although obviously that's not enough, but yeah, so looks like Bingxuan's gamble is paying off here, going face, because you see Wubu, considering trading. That gives Bingxuan a bit of information here, realizing that Wubu has to play defensively, or he's thinking about playing defensively. So what could we see here? We could see just it looks like it's just going to be a Thorson here. Okay. So Wubu playing defensively, but does get a Thorson now, which means that combo is discounted. And just going to looks like it's just going to be a Wrath for 1 plus a Swipe. Picks up an Innervate, which is not useful at all. And looks like Bingxuan's just going to give incentive right back to his opponent, who has discounted cards. This might be a bit scary for Wubu, because he might be, staring at a lot of damage from his opponent potentially. But on the other hand, you're kind of okay with your opponent not developing anything. So it looks like it's just going to be a Sylvanas and the Darnassus hitting the field. Sylvanas is pretty annoying to deal with. Like for instance, you can't play this Azure Drake plus Innervate Swipe because you just give your opponent a swipe, or the Azure Drake, most likely. I guess not most likely, it would be 50-50, but yeah, it'd be pretty annoying. So it looks like instead it's going to be the opposite. Going to be throwing this Living Root in and using a swipe, and probably going to be innervating into that Azure Drake. We'll see what he gets for his trouble. Gets a Keeper, which is something to be able to play later. Typically there's no Agent of War, so Keeper can be used, for its utility, for instance, to kill out this Darnassus. And Wubu's got to be a bit worried here, so yeah, he's going to swipe off this Azure Drake, otherwise he would be dead to combo. Wubu has seen, obviously, 2 Innervates, so he's not afraid of double combo unless he sees Thorson come out. And Wubu putting on a bit of pressure here. And Wubu, actually, he can Druid the Claw charge, Innervate combo, which, would that be enough? I think it would be. There's 26 damage on the field, and that's going to be game, I believe. As long as Wubu doesn't miss this, you see him counting right now. He's definitely looking at what he has in his hand and that possibility. And I'm pretty sure that's way over lethal. 20, I mean, it's 20 damage with just the Druid of the Claw, and then add another 6 from the other Druid of the Claw. So 26, and then there's a 4 from the Darnassus Aspirant. So he actually has 30 damage here. And Bingxuan just going to get run out of the building here with this combo here. He's not going to be happy to see this. Not something that you're really expecting from your opponent. And you see Bingxuan here is not too happy. Wubu is going to be your first player out of Group G and into the round of 16. And he fist pumps for his victory there. Well played by him in this basically today's groups in both the areas he's played. Congratulations to him and well played. And he will face, I believe, Lovely Chuk, aka Roji, in the round of 16.